a shadow to my light. Did you feel us? Another star, you fade away. Afraid our aim is out of sight. Wanna see you
What's up, guys? This is Copernicus Johnson here at Centennial Sportsplex. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Holiday Hustle. Today we are going to focus on mobility is the thing. We're going to start from the ground up. So we are talking about lower body mobility, different stretches, different techniques you can incorporate to ensure that you're ramped up, ready to go for your workout. I have Drew behind the camera to help give you all the sick angles and show you exactly how to get in proper positioning. So, alright guys, so these are 5 stretches that you can incorporate with minimal equipment, whether it's before a cardio session or a strength training session. All you need is a mat. And if you don't have a mat and you're outside, just use the grass. Something soft that you can set up in these different positions and stretches. So, the first one I'm going to show you is the typical runner stretch. And with this, you want to have a nice wide base, setting one foot out in front of you, as you can see, other foot prop back, heel up, putting both hands on the inside of that front foot and dropping the hips down towards the ground, forcing your chest out, and you're going to feel a nice deep stretch, not only in the hamstring, but also in the glute, really just opening up the hips. The wider base you have, the deeper that stretch is going to be. So, once you're in this position here, you can do some small hip circles to the outside, get a few rotations, whether it's 8, 10 rotations to the outside, then rotating back in, you're going to feel a hip loosen up really nicely. Once you're done with one side, swap the other side, same thing, pressing that chest out, hands for support on the inside of that front foot, and just doing some hip circles to the outside, then coming back in. So, that is your runner stretch. Straight from there, you can transition to number 2, and this is called a hip complex. What this is going to focus on is your individual hip flexor right here. So we are focusing on pressing this thigh towards the ground. And the way to do so is just dropping the back knee from the runner stretch, pressing your hips forward, and a way to deepen the stretch even further as you're pressing your hips forward in that hip hinge is bringing that upper body into play, reaching up and back, still driving those hips forward the entire time. You're going to feel a nice deep stretch, not only in the hip flexor itself, but lengthening up from the rib cage, expanding that torso, and promoting length. Holding this position here, another way to deepen is by pressing that hip to the outside, reaching towards that back corner, using some spatial awareness there. Just to give you a marker, reaching up towards that back corner, you're going to feel an even deeper stretch in that hip flexor. So this is called the hip complex. Once again, just setting up from that runner stretch, drop that back knee, press the hips forward, reach up and back, boom, that's number 2. Transitioning to number 3, this is called the pigeon pose. And what you're going to want to do is taking one of your legs, bring it underneath the torso, opposite leg is stretched all the way back. And so as you can see, the opposite leg is all the way back. Front leg is underneath the body. You're going to start off in an upright position just to feel that stretch first, putting your weight onto this glute, onto this hip. Hands for support once again. Chest out, feeling that stretch first. I recommend holding this position first for about 10-15 seconds. And then depending on your flexibility and your mobility, you can lower that torso down, feeling an even deeper stretch in that glute, in that hip. Can even incorporate a little bit of back in terms of that stretch. Reaching out ahead of you, head between the arms, dropping down, and lengthening out the lats as well. So that was a little bit of upper body as well, but primarily focusing on that glute, on that hip. Once you go through those 3, another one that is quad dominant in terms of emphasis is going to be this position. There's a few different names for it. Honestly, it's just going to be a sitting quad stretch, really. But as you can see, the feet, that's imperative in terms of positioning. So my ankles are not tucked underneath here to where my toes are forward, my toes are back, ankles open, front side. You're going to feel a nice deep stretch in the front side ankles. A lot of times whether it's exercise or cardio or strength training, etc., a lot of times it has to do with the ankles as the thing. We don't really place a lot of emphasis on that. So aside from your general calf stretches, we're just going to work the backside. A lot of times it has to do with front side tightness on the ankle, and that's what's preventing you from making progress. So keep that in mind. This is a fantastic stretch for that. Working on ankle mobility as well as your quads, lengthening those before you perform physical activity. So if you're able to get into this position here and it's not deep enough, you can incorporate those hands traveling back, reaching position to where it's challenging, not painful, but to where you can feel a nice deep stretch in that position. If that's not far enough, continue walking back. If you have the mobility to do so, perform it safely, and then walk yourself back forward. So that's number 4. And to finish off this nice little series of 5 exercises, you're going to be transitioning onto the back. And this is just supine position. So whenever you're lying on the back, you're in supine position. So this is a supine trunk twist. Your arms are going to be extended, level with your shoulders, knees bent at 90 degrees and lifting them up off the floor. And you're going to start right side to side. You're going to feel a deep stretch of that lower back, outside of the hip, that glutes, but your goal is to keep those legs together and keep those shoulders down as best as possible. It's going to be tough, especially when you get closer to the floor. Those shoulders are going to want to drift up, as you can see. So you have to really focus. Keep those legs pinched together, taking it nice, slow, and controlled, performing wipe side to side. To isolate each individual side, do this exact same stretch, but just lower one of the legs. So let's say we want to focus on that right leg. We're going to take that right leg, go over to the left side, same thing, except we're going to hold it. Using our hand for assistance, keeping that chest open nice and wide, lengthening the back, lengthening that glute, and the outside of that hamstring. So this is more of a static stretch or holding a single position. Doing this about 10, 20, maybe even 30 seconds, depending on how tight you are. Holding this, return to the center, swapping over to the other side, left leg, right side, same thing as you can see, upper body positioning, chest is open, arm is in line with the shoulders, and you're using that opposite hand to help press that thigh towards the ground. Let's get a nice deep stretch on both sides, feeling loose, ready to go. Sit up, dust yourself off, you're ready to hit legs. Alright, get after it.
Another star, you fade away. Afraid our aim is out of sight. Wanna see us alive. Where are you now?
I know it breaks your heart. Moved to the city and I broke